hop onto here, shall we? I'm going to do a little kind of live gear planning. Not like we need to figure out what our BIS sets or anything are going to be, because we know exactly what our... I know vanilla gear like the back of my hand. There's nothing I need to figure out like, oh, what's good for this slot, but I more want to do some planning for specifically the first 3 weeks of what this game's going to be like and what I can realistically get in those first 3 weeks. USR and Loth, that brings our BIS? They are, yes. Alright, so let's make the Fresh Warrior, I guess. Might as well just end up using this one as our actual thing eventually. Sure. Okay, hold on. For now, we'll use a placeholder name. 60... I guess it's technically not able to choose which realm we're on yet, but whatever. Oh, wait, shit. Did I choose Rogue? Sorry. Wow, okay. Honestly, probably deserve a permaban from Twitch for that mistake. Alright. Obviously, we can just customize our character in a way that we know it's going to look like. That skin tone. Angry, or slightly like angry, more confident, dommy mommy face is what we always choose for our main. Hold on, I'll find it. Oh, there it is, okay. And then hairstyle, what the fuck is this? Obviously, bun is BIS. If you should pick literally any other hairstyle in this game for a human female, you are wrong. Hold on, where is it? Come on. There it is, bun is BIS. We're not some old washed up lady. We're gonna be black-haired gamer, and there we are. Classic. And then piercings, we always go with the one with the little eyebrow piercing. Yeah, that one's BIS, there we go. All right, and then, great, good. Not rolling bun mama. That would not be a good look. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. I want to create a set here that we'll kind of call like our goal set, I guess, for walking into MC the day it's released. So let me be very clear about the set I'm about to make here. What I'm not going to create is like Phase 1 BIS, because Phase 1 BIS is going to include things like Lionheart Helm and Devilsar and SGC and stuff that like isn't necessarily like easy guaranteed you'll get in 1 week, right? So Phase 1 BIS lists exist everywhere. If you really want to know Phase 1 BIS lists, it's not hard to find. What I'm going to do is we're going to create a set here today that is basically like Phase 1 or like realistic Fury realistic BIS pre-MC release. We're going to call it, okay? So keep in mind, MC comes out 3 weeks after Classic Squared does. So because of that, you're going to probably, I mean, I at least am planning on taking about 2 weeks to get to 60. Okay, so I'm going to have approximately 1 week after getting to 60 to get pre-BIS stuff, or, you know, just stuff for MC, right? So basically what we have to ask ourselves is, what set do we realistically think we can get within that 1 week? That's what we're going for here. Okay, Phase 1. Equivalency points, I'll just add my ones that I currently use for Era. These are not going to be correct for Phase 1, but whatever, they'll be good enough. Hello, where's my other stuff? Oh, here we go, okay. Fury P ally, okay, good. All right. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 2 different lists, okay? I'm going to make a list that basically contains the best case scenario, and I'm going to make lists that include the backup options. Like basically a list for like all like the second best option in that slot if the first best option is not something we get, okay? So, we'll start with Helm. Helm to me seems pretty obvious and pretty guaranteed. The Fury Visor, obvious, no, just kidding. This seems pretty obvious to me. The answer is Mask of the Unforgiven. There's a lot of other decent-ish helms that you can kind of say are comparable to Mask of the Unforgiven, but I think in your set, when you're walking in MC, you're going to be pretty hit-starved to the point where you're going to want that 2-hit for Mask of the Unforgiven. This is a very easy drop to get. It's just off the surprise, Unforgiven in Strat Live. That's a very easy boss to farm, very easy boss to get this. This should be no problemo. Even a chance that we end up getting it while we're doing our dungeon grind while leveling. As far as the enchant is concerned, the only enchant that'll be available in the game at the start is 8 strength. Rapidity will not be in the game because this comes from Dire Maul, so this will not be in on release. I'd say the odds of you realistically getting 8 strength enchants at the start, like before MC comes out, are pretty low. Not impossible, because Veracity Librams will drop, but should I bank on getting 8 strength? Probably not. For now, I'm going to assume it's going to be unenchanted. You could argue that maybe something like a 100 HP enchant might be a little more reasonable to acquire, but I'm not going to assume it is. So, but oh, by the way, I should say also, this entire discussion here is going to assume that we don't have, it's going to assume that we have the phase 1 loot table. If it's the phase 5 or phase 6 loot table, it's going to be different. We'll kind of have to redo this, but I'm going to assume for now it's going to be phase 1 loot table. What do you mean? We're going to get 3 SGCs, 3 Hodges, 3 crossbows, 6 Veracities, and 3 runs of BRD. Okay, okay. Ignoring the fact that crossbow drops on LBRS, but okay. We are going to have some BRD items, though, we can get that are going to kind of probably be in the backup options. That'll be good, good options. Is DM out on release? No. According to their timeline, DM doesn't come out till phase 2. All right. So Mask of the Unforgiven. For what it's worth, I mean, maybe we'll just create, we'll just copy this set. And then Fury, Realistic Pre-MC, backups. We'll say like backup options. We'll just say backups for now. So as a backup option, I don't really think we have to think about it too hard for Helm because like this is almost a guarantee. But I mean, some horrifically disastrous scenario where you're just absurdly unlucky getting it, I guess you can just keep using your Raging Berserker's Helm from SM that you get when leveling. This is still really solid as a starter helm when you get to level 60, so it is an option for what it's worth. By the way, I don't know why this is included on phase 1. I guess this assumes that the phase 5 loot table's in the game, but it won't be. Well, at least I'm assuming it won't be. Eye of Rend is also an option, I guess, but this one, once again, maybe not a guarantee either. Between Eye of Rend, though, and Mask of the Unforgiven, you'll almost certainly get one of these. So I think, and in fact, if you don't even need to hit, this is better than the Mask of the Unforgiven. So we'll, I mean, yeah, okay. So that'll be kind of the backup option there, I guess. Okay. So those are pretty easy. All right, next up, Necklace. This one, thankfully, is a guarantee. This one we'll just get while we're leveling. This is already part of our plan. Just get Mark of Forgery. This is just from the In Dreams quest line. This one's just do the quest line, you get the item. I know Znips was coping last night, and I saw him saying like, well, maybe I should be choosing the healing ring from that quest for my Diamond Flask set. If he wants to go for it, if you want to go for it, dude, go for it. But personally, I'm getting the necklace. I'm not particularly attached to my Diamond Flask set anyways, and when I'm just a DPSer. Why don't they just make it the phase 6 loot table? Because the game's releasing in phase 1, and it's no changes, baby. All right, so I'm not even really going to include a backup for this because it's just Mark of Forgery, and there's really no reason to overcomplicate this. Okay. Shoulders. Yeah, shoulders. Okay, so the one that you ideally want to get is True Strike, right? Off of Embers here. These ones will, A, really help with your hit situation, B, or just like for pure DPS, just your best realistic option here. The problem is these are giga contested, and it's UBRS, so it's 10 people in the group and not just 5. So I don't think it's a guarantee per se that I get this before MC release. It'd be nice, but it's not something that you can, I think, absolutely bank on. What's up, Glory on Tanks, coming in top of the Prime 7 now for 32 months. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. The sub will go directly to the Hot Pockets and Doritos fund. Appreciate you, dude. But yeah, ideally you get these. And then your backup option, I keep saying yours, mine. There's no other options that are like super appealing, but I would say these ones out of BRD, these ones drop off the boss, like Warder Stilgis is the one that is in the vault, like the Frost Mage boss. These are solid. These are decent starter shoulders. They don't have any hit or anything, but they at least have like solid stats, and they're off a boss that's like doable, like when you're just doing like leveling in BRD if you want. So these are okay. You're saying the other hit quest shoulders? Yeah, you're talking about what the fuck are they? Way the fuck down here, I'm sure. Yeah, these. I mean, if you're really desperate for hit, yes, you can get these from the quest. But number one, we're not going to be doing this quest line while we're leveling, so I would have to do this quest line later after the fact. And number two, they have nothing on them besides hit. These are kind of a trap in my opinion. These ones, at this point, if you're thinking you need to wear these, I'd probably recommend wearing other pieces. Like another pair of shoulders does better DPS stats, and getting the hit from another slot instead. But if you absolutely have to, yes, these exist. But that being said, I would personally just lean towards Dark Warders as your backup if you can't get True Strike, because these are fine. Now, as far as your enchants, the only shoulder enchants that exist at the start of the game are Argent Dawn Resistance enchants. The good news is my group is planning on probably doing a fair bit of Scholomance as we level like once we're close to 60, so we should be able to get hopefully Revered, question mark? I don't think we'll get Exalted, but we should be able to get Revered. And especially if we're like looting Scourge Stones. So I think it's pretty realistic that we can get the Flame Mantle of the Dawn, which is obviously your best choice for MC. So that's probably the play right there. Oh yeah, the HP is going to be horrifying once we finish this set, I can promise you that. So yeah, that'd probably be the plan and backup. Cloak is very simple. Cloak is, ideally, you get Baron Cloak, right? Baron Cloak is the BIS cloak in the game for a warrior until BWL, and even realistically, you can wear this into AQ, because the only cloak upgrade in the game after this, before AQ, is either the one off of Azergos, Puissant Cape, or the one off of the Post-Veil Trash, Cloak of Draconic Might. There's a solid chance, especially with the short timeline, that you'll just be wearing this into AQ, which feels plebby, but it is what it is, right? So, ideally you get this off of Baron. Once again, though, this is another one where I'm not feeling like this is a guarantee. Largely because back in OG Classic, I killed Baron 51 times before I saw this cloak even drop. It's not like a rare drop off of Baron, it's the same as everything else, I just got absurdly unlucky. But this one's ultra contested, because like every physical DPS class wants this, and it requires you clear all the way till the end of Strat UD, so that's a thing. Cloak of Firemaw? Yes, we are talking about for our pre-MC release BIS. You're right, I did forget to talk about Cloak of Firemaw. Unfortunate. And then the backup option is easy. It's the BRD one. The good news about the BRD one is this is one we'll be able to get very easily as we're leveling, because we're just going to clear BRD when we're in our early to mid 50s. So for those out there that are looking for like a solid cape option until you get the Baron Cloak, it's Black Veil Cape. This one drops off the Houndmaster boss. Assuming it's the phase 1 loot table, this will drop off the Houndmaster boss. And it's basically, I always call it the Ghetto Baron Cloak, because this is essentially a Baron Cloak that has like a little bit less attack power, right? So like 8 less attack power, or with Kings, I guess 6 less attack power, and then 1 less agi. So yeah, this one's solid, this one's fine. This one I'd feel fine with if I had to go into MC with this, but hopefully get Baron Cloak, of course. That cloak does feel rarer than the rest of Baron's loot. It's not, it's just World of Fieldcraft, I promise. Can I explain why this is BIS? Agi is not as good as Strength, is it? Okay, for those that I guess just came in within the past 5 minutes, I am creating a realistic BIS list, and I'm also creating a backup list for pre-MC. So everything you see on the backup page is not BIS. I'd call it the second best option that you can realistically get. That is what this is, okay? Gotta keep, just look up here if you're confused which list we're looking at. Okay. So yeah, 3 Agi and Cloak, that'll be easy. That's just a world drop in Tanaris, so that'll exist. Very easy to get. Pray for rare spawn so you get Chunker Cloak. Yeah, I feel like that's mostly a guarantee that you get that drop snips before MC comes out. You're talking about Stone Skin Gargoyle Cape. That should be pretty easy, especially if people pass to you since you're a Tonk, as you would say. And yeah, this is also a solid option for a backup DPS Cloak. It's worse than the BRD one, but it does have a lot more stam, which is obviously nice. Would I prefer the Plate 2% hit helm from Baron to Unforgiven Mask? The Plate 2% hit helm is not in the game until Phase 5, so this is a Phase 1 list, and we are assuming that we're going to only have the Phase 1 loot table. Okay. So, Chess Piece. Chess Piece is, well, kind of a meme, isn't it? In a perfect world, it's SGC, of course. But I think realistically, I don't see me getting SGC before MC gets out. I mean, like, exclamation point SGC if you want to see how long it took me to get the first one back in OG Classic. Probably not realistic. Sure, we're going to clear BRD as we're leveling, but I don't even know if it's worth it to do Arena, to be completely honest. I personally don't think that it's worth it as far as like XP per hour is concerned. So, in my opinion, you just skip it. So, under the assumption that we're not going to get SGC, which I don't think we will, there's two very solid backup options in Skullomance. Both of these are in on phase 1, okay? And assuming we get the phase 1 loot table, this one is one of the ones that drops off of the mini bosses, the Skull mini bosses before Gandling. But in the phase 5 loot table, this is really difficult to get because all the mini bosses have only a very low chance of dropping a blue besides Barav. So this one's tough. But in the phase 1 loot table, every single mini boss drops a guaranteed blue, so this is a relatively easy item to acquire. So assuming we do some Skullomance, even while we're leveling, getting one of these two should be easy. This one's off Gandling. So for pure DPS, Cadaverous is better. To be honest, I'd rather wear Tombstone just because it's got stamina, and in case it's not obvious already, we're going to be very stamina starved in this set. But yeah, I would prefer this one. And then as far as the backup, just Cadaverous. This is kind of an either-or situation. I'll just wear whichever one I happen to get. What the fuck is this model? That's not what it actually looks like, BT dubs. That's the BDSM chest piece model, I guess. Alright. Nice. Cadaverous over pure crit. Okay, boys. I get a question. Do I prio AP versus crit? There's no such thing as like, oh, well, this stat's better than that stat. It's all about like how much of it there is, and you can convert it to an equivalent attack power. Whenever I hear people talking about like, oh, do you prio crit over AP? The obvious question is, well, how much crit are we talking about? How much AP are we talking about? Do I prio 1 crit over 100 AP? No, obviously not. Do I prio 1 crit over 25 AP? Yeah, I do. This is a very rough estimate, but at the start of the game in like a pre-BIS set, when you look at sims, 1 crit is worth approximately 24 to 25 AP. Like those two things will increase your damage by roughly the same amounts. So it's really just all about math. Like, you know, this chest piece, for example, 2 crits. So if you want to do the math, all right, crit's worth 25 AP. 2 crit means 50 AP plus another, let's ignore other buffs for now, plus another 20 AP from the strength, right? So it'd be equivalent attack power value of 70. This one, you look at the 8 strength, 8 agi, 60 attack power. Well, okay, 16 strength is worth, or 8 strength is worth 16 AP plus 60, so that's 76 attack power plus another 8 agi. The very rough math you can do is 1 agi equals 1.5 AP, or at least the equivalent of it. So that's another 12, so you're looking at like about 88 on this one. That's the really easy way, or the rough way of looking at it. If you want more exact numbers, you should sim it, !sims, but if you just want to eyeball stuff, that's the easy and comfy way to do it. To me, I don't really need to like sim this stuff. I've done this a long time ago, so I know all of which are better than the others. In phase 1, this is your second BIS chest piece after SGC for pure damage, but this is fine. All right. And I'd rather wear this for the more stamina. That's why this is on the kind of this page instead of the backup page. Death Dealer from BRD has 8 strength, 8 stand, 2 crit. It does, and this one has 10 strength, 10 stand, 2 crit. Wow. All right. Then wrists. Wrists to me are pretty easy, I think. Oh wait, I should talk about chest enchant. 4 stats will not be in the game yet because these drop off of like world bosses and raid bosses. So pre-MC, that ain't gonna happen. So you'll just get 3 stats for that. There you go. Do I know anything about whether we will be able to play both factions on Fresh since there's only 1 server? On the PvP servers, I don't know. The assumption for now is that they'll be faction locked, so you can only do 1 faction on the PvP server, but I hope... On Era, it's technically possible to have both right now, so I do hope it ends up being both, but we'll see. More than likely, it's just going to be faction locked to 1, unfortunately. All right. So wrists, ideally what you get is these. These are off of Timmer in Strat Live. And thankfully, because they're played, they're only needed by warriors and, well, cringe rets, but those don't exist. So ideally, just get these. Gotta do Strat Live for them, but should be pretty reasonable that I get these in week 1. That shouldn't be an issue. The only downside, I guess, is they don't have hit, whereas our other backup option will, but just get these, kill Timmer, snipe these, you're Gucci. And I think 9 strength should be in the game. What's this drop off? I think this is just a world drop, right? Oh, it's in Deadwind Pass. Okay, so you gotta like farm a dedicated mob for it, I guess, but I'd like to think that someone will get this. Somebody will be sweaty enough to get it, so we'll assume for now that we'll get this. If not, obviously 7 strength will be the backup plan. And then the backup option is going to be the ones that drop off of Rend. So, Battleborn. These ones you could even call your quote-quote main option, depending on what the rest of your hit gear looks like. Like, if you're short on hit because you didn't get True Strike and you didn't get, I don't know, Mask of the Unforgiven or whatever, then Battleborn is an option. Not a terrible option. These are only barely worse than Vambraces of the Sadist. They're essentially tied almost. They just have no stats on them, which kind of sucks. But yeah, these are an option, especially if you want the hit. So between Vambraces and these, I'm sure I'll get one of them. That one's not too much of an issue. I'll save weapons till last, by the way. Okay. Ideally go for Stam and Chunk option since our HP will be awful unless it's a big upgrade. I mean, that's easy to say, Argram, hard to do in practice when you look at pre-raid gear. Sorry, someone messaged me in the game. Okay, So anyways, we'll move on to gloves. Gloves is an annoying one. Gloves is a weird one. So obviously, normally in phase 1, the answer is easy. It's just Devil Sar, right? I don't know how realistic it is to expect to get Devil Sar in pre-MC release. Because, like, obviously, people need to kill the Devil Sars, get the leather, they also need to get the formulas, and then you need to get them crafted, right? Will they be in the game on release? Yes. Is it realistic to acquire them by the time MC comes out? I don't know. I've never been in this scenario where MC's been time-gated like this, so it's never been something I've had to worry about before. Devil Sar is 7-minute respawn, multiple layers. Sure, but yeah, I don't know. I'll say this. I'm going to, for now, when I make this list, operate under the assumption that I won't get it. If I do, then great. That's the obvious option. Obviously, easy, guaranteed option. For the sake of this list, though, I'm going to assume for now I don't get it just because I want to plan for what happens if I don't get them, right? So, oh, by the way, I never even touched on Lionheart. We're not going to get Lionheart before MC. That just won't happen. So, yeah. Devil Sar, like I said, probably realistic that we could, but for now, let's assume we won't. So if that's the case, there's 2 okay-ish options that I don't love, but are probably your only options, really. There are Gargoyle Slashers, and there are Reaver Claws, right here. I forgot these exist. These are also an option, too. I forgot these are an option. If these dropped in Skullomance, that'd be sick, but... And, like, you know, it's not a terrible option, or it's not a terrible chance, since these do drop off the mini-bosses that all drop blues, so... I forgot about these. These are actually... Maybe these are actually even better options than Reaver Claws, TBH. They're mail and not plate, and they have less stam, but probably just more realistic to acquire. Voon's Vice Grips? Do not pick Voon's Vice Grips. If you get Voon's Vice Grips, it means you don't get Amok's Girth Restrainer, which is your previous belt, and almost certainly going to be the belt you wear until you get Onslaught Girdle. So, no, don't get baited by Voon's Vice Grips. That is not the play. So anyways, I think the most realistic likely thing that we get is probably Gargoyle Slashers. These drop off Kurtonos and Skullomance, so assuming we're farming Skullomance as we level, I think, assuming we kill Kurtonos, and I don't know why we wouldn't, we're going to get Mirror Song anyways. These are DPS-wise your best option if you don't have Devil Sar. So these will probably be the main plan. And then the backup plan... either Reaver Claws or Bloodmail. I don't think we'll probably kill Wormthalok that many times, so I think realistically these are probably a little more likely to get. But they're interchangeable. You could absolutely get Reaver Claws and just have these be a perfectly fine backup option as well. I guess you're gonna need Reaver's Nips. I mean, like, I don't know. If we have to prioritize either LBRS or Skullomance, I think Skullomance just has so many more useful items that we prioritize. So, my personal opinion is we stick to Skullomance as much as we can. Okay. And then obviously enchant, yeah, 7 strength. Hope Angerforge drops Hodge for a while. He should. As long as it's the phase 1 loot table, then you should. How bad are the 60 default or default 60 upgrade stats? They are completely fucking worthless. Pays literally zero attention to them. They are not good. Just do exclamation point sims, and you can sim like a basic previous gear set, and you can select the option at the very bottom of the sim to give you the equivalency values. Use those. Those are going to be much closer to accurate. You can wear Valor gloves as well, which are BOE. Yeah, those do exist, yeah. What are those, like 17 strength, 3 agi, I think? Not bad. Alright, get my ass to the Zeppelin right now off the side here. Got a rebuff for the next raid. Okay. And then belts. Alright, so belts, we get to the reason why you don't want to pick Voon's Vice Grips. You want this one. Yeah, if you're doing the Warlord's Command, I mean... Yeah, you could pick Voon's Vice Grips, but you miss out on the second best belt in the entire game until ZG comes out. So, yeah. You pick the Girthos Trainer. It's a quest, guaranteed item. No worries about this, and we will have this going at MC. Easy fucking clap. So I'm not even gonna put it back up. Just get this. Ooh. Alright, legs. Legs is the other weird one where it's just like, well, if we don't get Devil Sar, what do you choose to use instead? This one's rough. This slot, if you don't have Devil Sar, it's just like, these ones are nice, but you'll get these until DM is out, so that's not an option. Valor, not great, but it is an option. I mean, 23 strength, 11 agi, not terrible. It's Lava Crest, I guess, from BRD, but like, these ones drop. These are just BOE. These are an option, but like, these are all shitty options, TBH. I think realistically, Valor is probably your best bet, which is painful, but yeah, don't think there's really any other obvious option without Devil Sar. So pray to God we get Devil Sar, basically. These ones, probably a pretty good chance you'll get these if you kill Baron enough, but like, God, that looks dumb. But Legions of Ursa. Oh, that is true. Those do exist too. I completely forgot about those. Yeah, you're right. I think Valor are slightly better for pure stats. Not by a lot, but a little bit. But yeah, you're right. Those are probably your best backup option because those are guaranteed. Those are from a quest. So yeah, I forgot about those as an option. But yeah, just do a quick Felwood quest. Sure. So, yeah, ideally, we just hopefully get Devil Sar. Fingers crossed. If we do, then that's easy. Then just wear Devil Sar forehead. It's Black Dragon skill, not in Phase 1. It is, but it's not something anyone's realistically going to get the rep for before MC comes out, because you need to do, like, it's Thorium Brotherhood, right? So no one's going to have that rep by the time we're doing MC. Surely 3 weeks into the game, Devil Sar's in. It probably will be TBH, but I just don't want to... If it is, awesome, but I want to plan for what I do if it's not yet. Because obviously, like, not everybody is 60 on release, right? People have to level first before they start farming Devil Sar. What phase is Titanic? Those are phase 5. Okay. And then the feetsies, obviously, you just remain barefoot and sell your feet pics on OnlyFans and use that gold to buy your Devil Sar, obviously. But if you feel like getting boots, I guess, for some reason, Blood Mail, I think, is going to be pretty reasonable for our group because we are, like I said, planning on grinding Skullomance there at the start. Or, sorry, near the end of our leveling grind. So if that's the case, I'm not going to say these are a guarantee, but it's a pretty strong chance that we'll get these. So 9 strength, 9 agi, 1 hit. These are your best options in phase 1 if you need the hit from your boot slots. If you don't need the hit from your boot slot, it's Battle Chasers. These, though, are kind of weird because these are a BRD BOE drop, and these ones I don't think I've ever seen these drop in the game. Like, they exist, and plenty of people will be doing BRD, so you'll see these drop, and you'll see these on the auction house, but number 1, I think they'll be insanely expensive, and number 2, depending on what other gear I get, I might need to hit from Blood Mail anyways. So I'm going to assume Blood Mail is probably the more realistic option here. Which hit are we rocking in this set? We're up to 5 now, okay. So yeah, more than likely that hit's going to be needed in our boot slot anyways. And the good news is, even if we don't get that, we have another backup option here that I'm about to show you. But yeah, Blood Mail is nice, because not only is it decently itemized for DPS stats, it's also, like, it's got, like, at least it's mail, it's got some stamina on it, right? So it's, like, kind of comfy in that regard. Backup option, though, for what it's worth, also comes from Skullomance. So That's why I'm saying that like Scholomance is just too valuable to ignore. Like we got to do Scholomance like once we're like 57. Because Bloodmail exists, and off Gertonos, there are the Wind Chaser Greaves. These ones, or Wind Reaver, sorry. These ones are only like barely worse than Bloodmail. Instead of 9 strength, 9 agi, it's 20 agi and 1 hit. Biggest downside of these, no stamina. That's not great, but these probably will drop a bit more reliably off Gertonos, just because they are like part of his dedicated loot table instead of something that only drops on like smaller chance off a mini boss, right? No Saf scale. Saf scale, I mean, like, yeah, some of those will be on the auction house, sure, but there's 2 problems. Number 1, I think, like I said, we're probably going to want to get hit from our boot slot. We're probably going to need it to get to 6. And number 2, it's a BOE that, like, will probably be pretty expensive at the start of the game because, like, everybody will see these as, like, a decent option to buy. You could, but I don't personally want to bank on it, nor do I think I'd wear it even if I got a pair of free ones versus just the hit boots anyways. What's up? Chuck Da Cheese. I guess the lesser-known brother of Chuck E. Cheese. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Your sub will go directly to the Hot Pockets and Doritos Fund. Thanks for hanging out. Glad you're enjoying. Wow. Clown suit activated. Yeah, the backup set looks pretty damn scuffed. At least, like, at least the set looks okay. Kind of has, like, a bit of a yellow tan theme to it, right? Okay. And then rings. Rings are, well, one of them's easy. One of them's obvious. Skip Blackstone Ring. Blackstone Ring drops off of Princess and Maradon. This will be the thing that gets you your final hits, more than likely. This one, I mean, I don't think we're going to end up grinding Maradon a lot in our leveling grind. We'll probably just do 1 quest run, and that's it. And if that's the case, not a guarantee, obviously, that we get it. But the good news is a Hunter or Warlock can solo this. So, under the assumption that, like, we'll have people in guild that can just solo it for us, we should be able to get Blackstone Ring without too much of an issue there by the time MC comes out. Might be a little annoying, but hopefully fine. And then, so that one's kind of like, I think, a guaranteed. I mean, I'll give backup options regardless here in a second, but as far as your second ring is concerned, in a perfect world, it's Painweaver. But realistically, do we think we can get Painweaver before MC comes out? Drops off of General Dracosath, so, you know, final boss of EBRS. I don't know. I mean, if we get it, awesome. I'm probably not going to bank on it, though, just because this is going to be needed by every single warrior in the game. And I think a lot of the EBRS I do will end up being Ren runs and not full runs. So I'm not going to bank on this. If we get it, cool, awesome. If I don't, I think this is the play. Especially as Alliance, this is an advantage that Alliance has. Magnai's Will is in the game. This comes from the quest of you saving the princess, so it's basically a guaranteed item that you'll get just by doing a quest line in BRD. So this item right here, more than likely, is what I'll roll into to pair with Blackstone Ring and MC. And it's fine, right? It's literally, especially when you include Kings, it's essentially identical to Painweaver. And it's actually even better than Blackstone if you don't need the hit from Blackstone. So nice to have. That's like one of the few reasons to be like happy about being Alliance is that like, well, this is an option, whereas Horde doesn't have an equivalent ring like this. They got some cringe like tanking ring with armor on it. Ugh. Ugh. Mars not out when fresh start. It will be in this. It was out at the start of Classic 2019, and no reason to think it won't be out at the start of Classic Squared here. Okay. So yeah, if we want to talk about backups, I mean, I think this one's a guarantee. This one's pretty much a guarantee, but for what it's worth, if you feel like talking about backups here, let's say like you're just absurdly unlucky and you don't get Blackstone, or you just don't get a chance to get it because you ran out of time. Your absolute basic bitch options are Band of the Penitent. This comes from just doing a quest that you'll in Stratholme, you just do 1 strat run and complete this quest. So it's just a 1 crit ring, has no strength on it, no AP, but at least it's 1 crit, right? So that's 1. And then your second ring, I mean, just get the BRD quest ring, really. This one's a guarantee because it's a quest item, right? But like for some weird fucking reason, if you don't do the BRD quests, just get this one. There's not any other option where it's just like, oh yeah, usually obvious. So just get that one. Dire Maul will be phase 2 per launch photo. It is. That's why we have no Dire Maul gear on this list. Still getting world buffs here off to the side. Okay. Isn't the BRD quest part of the Oni pre-quest anyways? Saving the princess? No, I don't think so. I think that's separate. It's separate for Horde, but I'm pretty sure it's separate for Alliance as well. Someone confirm that for me. Need to turn in 5 holy water for that ring. That's illegal. Yeah, ideally don't waste 5 holy water on this, but yeah, it's an option. But yeah, I think realistically, this one's a guarantee. This one's close to a guarantee. If you're lucky, get Pain Weaver as well. Cool. Oh, I forgot Boot Enchant. Boot Enchant, minor speed. ZG buff's not in the game yet. Swiftness is not in the game, so you want to be a minor speedy boy. It is separate, just did on your Fresh Warrior. That's what I thought, yeah, but whatever. You're going to do a few full BRD runs anyway, and it only takes 1, so whatever, dude. Oh, okay. Trinkets, well, not many to choose from. Trinkets, you kind of have 2, and if you don't get those 2, especially as Alliance, well, you're shit out of luck, I guess. The obvious one, guaranteed one from the quest, Black Hand's Breath. Everybody should get this. If you don't get this, you're fucking up. So, get this. And then your second trinket, unfortunately, if you're Horde, you have an option to get from a quest in Hinterlands. That's super nice because then it's a guaranteed... Oh, shit. Okay, hold on. Buff's going out. Hold that thought. Yeah, nice. Okay. What am I gonna use these buffs for? I don't know, but nice to have them. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, if you're Horde, Rune of the Guard Captain is an easy, obvious, solid, guaranteed option, right? It just comes from requests from the whole Jinta lore shit, so like guaranteed to get it. Unfortunately, Alliance does not have this equivalent quest, does not have this equivalent item, so you do not have an option as your backup trinket. So as Alliance, well, we just have to pray to fucking God that we get Hodge. Now here's the good news. We are going to be farming BRD as we're leveling probably from about 50 to 55, maybe even past that once we, if we still don't have Hodges. I am hoping we just get it while we level, because that would be the easiest, and that would be by far the least stressful way to get it. Hodge should hopefully be on Angerforge at launch, assuming it's phase 1 loot table, which we're assuming it will be, then it will be on Angerforge, yeah. So, I'm gonna cautiously assume we get Hodge. Oh, right. Not confirmed, but that's basically the assumption if they don't confirm one way or the other. Diamond Flask not worth mention. Diamond Flask is not in the game until BWL comes out. So, yeah. Hopefully it's not unrealistic to think that we'll get 3 Hodges for our group by the time we finish leveling in BRD. What's up? Okay. If not, by the way, in some disastrous nightmare scenario that we don't have Hodge. This is not in the game, that's DM. Not much, man. Force of will. I mean, like, I guess you'll get that. Get this in LBRS. I don't know. It's just a bunch of dog shit after that. Like, I guess the only other one I can think of is that we do the Mardon quest line for. If we do the Mardon quest, and I'm assuming we will, I guess it's this. This trinket's better for tanking because this is something that requires you get hit. But for what it's worth, Mark of the Chosen, like, this is a trinket that at the very least, like, I don't know, might proc off some like random bullshit if you end up getting hit in combat in a raid. Hopefully not, but that's as Alliance, your only okay-ish option. Even this sucks, right? So get Hodge. Oh, I hope so, man. I hope so. LBRS final boss is terrible, but maybe something. Yeah, you're talking about the Heart of Wormthalok. Yeah, there's plenty of options that are like, well, I don't love that, but it is an option sort of thing. Yeah. All right. And then the range slot. So this one, like, I think our plan is to farm some LBRS at least for part of our leveling grind. And The good news about LBRS is it has a boss, like it's the troll chick, I don't remember her name. Shadow Master something. Shadow something. Shadow Hunter, yeah, her. So she can drop not one, but two decent ranged options. She can drop both the Black Crow. This is solid if you want this as your hit option. If you need a hit from your bow slot, this is basically the equivalent to Satyr's bow from DM. And then she also drops the Rip Hook. This is your best option if you don't need the hit. So in a perfect world in the set right here, we already have 6 hits, so we don't desperately need another hit. But I would hope and pray that, like, we'll get one of these. Which one we get doesn't really matter. I think in this specific set, I think I'd rather have Rip Hook. Yeah, it's Striker's Mark at Home, exactly. But these are interchangeable. Either get this or get Black Crow. Hopefully one of the two, assuming we do enough LBRS. Don't really care which one. They're both fine. If you need, basically it comes down to, like, if you need the hit, use the crossbow. If you don't need the hit, use the bow. If you have both. Cool. All right, and now we get to weapons. Okay. Oh, now, like I said, this is a set that we're talking about that is going to be a set that we're trying to get for realistic BIS before MC comes out. Open up. So before everybody spurgs out, it's just like, streamer, you realize, like, Lionheart's phase 1 BIS, right? Streamer, you realize that getting SGC is BIS for phase 1. Of course, that's BIS. Gotta consider what will and won't be realistic in that 1 week you have of, like, after you get to 60 before MC comes out, right? So that's why Lionheart Helm, not gonna happen. Devil Sar probably will, to be honest, but this is operating under the assumption that we won't. If Devil Sar is acquirable, fine. Obviously, we just use Devil Sar. Easy fucking clap, right? So weapons. Weapons is going to be a similar situation where you're just like, streamer, get Dalrens, hello. Yeah, there we go. Yes, I'm aware of Dalrens. If you happen to get double Dalrens, you're chilling. But we're going to operate under the assumption we're not going to get Dalrens because Dalrens will be insanely contested and not a particularly amazing drop rate off of friend, right? Is it hit cap 9%? If you have 300 weapon skill, it's 9%. But if you have 305, because you were smart and rolled a human or an orc, it's only 6. Okay, now, with that being said, offhand is easy. Offhand, if you don't get Dalrens, and I don't think I will, you just get Mirror Song. Mirror Song is the guaranteed quest reward you get from doing the Cortonos quest chain in Scholomance. Solid itemization, solid base DPS, solid World of Fashion Craft. It's the same as Thrashblade even, wow. And I think Crusader will be doable. Crusader, somebody will get it. We'll get plenty of Righteous Orbs from just dungeon spamming, so I think it's realistic that we go into MC with Crusader on our weapons. Should be fun. Go over Horde weapon options? All right, I'll do that after Ally. How about that? And then main hand is trickier. Main hand, we were talking about this a couple of days ago, actually, because I'm less familiar with the Ally options for weapons since I'm a Horde Andy. And so we were kind of struggling there initially. The best one we initially came up with was just Thrashblade, which, like, yeah, it's an option, but it's not a good one. It's not great. It's like, you know, item level 45, right? Or, you know, let's say equivalent of a level 45 blue. So, like, it's not great. I mean, the proc's good, but, like, it's still shitty base DPS and has no stats, right? So, like, this, I guess, is the absolute worst case scenario. You literally just weren't able to get anything better because you were just absurdly unlucky. But I am not going to bank on having to go into MC with Thrashblade. That would suck. So we went over these options when we were looking at, like, potential drops in dungeons that are maybe, like, lesser known weapons that even if they're not considered to, like, traditionally be great options, like in this case where you're just trying to get what you can, they are better than you think. And we came up with 2. And they both come from Scholomance, conveniently enough. There is Bone Chill. This drops off of Rasfrost Whisper. It's 2.4 speed, so a little slower than you ideally prefer for a main hand, but as solid base DPS, a proc at least that's, you know, not completely worthless, just mostly worthless. And if we're farming Scholomance while we're leveling, we should realistically get enough of these at some point, right? So, like, this is an option right here. Looks super dumb, but is what it is, right? And then more appealingly, also out of Scholomance, the mini bosses. Yeah, you guys are already on the right track. The mini bosses can drop this one, Hammer of the Vesper. This one's nice. It's a little bit slower, 2.5 instead of 2.4, so better on that front. And it has 7 strength on it and 12 stamp. definitely a better option than just the Frost proc one. So I'm hoping, assuming we do enough Skullman's leveling, that one of these we'll be able to get. I know there's some BOEs you can get, like, you know, Massive McGowan or Sword of Zeal or blah, blah, blah. I'm going to assume for now that BOEs are not going to be realistically obtainable. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But I don't want to operate under the assumption that they will be. So I think in a perfect world, this is what you probably would call the best realistic option. Just a big old skull on a stick. Does it look cool? Debatable. Would be facing the other direction too. Oh wow, it does not. Yeah, no, it does not. But it's solid. You have to be unemployed to play fresh. You do, yes. You have to be unemployed, divorce your wife, abandon your kids, sell your home. Full fucking BIS, boys. I don't care what it takes. Isn't the Thrashblade proc making those subpar, however? Thrashblade proc is Thrashblade proc is good, but it still doesn't fully make up for the fact that it's a level 45 blue. Thrashblade's overrated. It's not as good as people like to think it is. It's fine. It's just not as good as something like this. So yeah, I think in a perfect world we get Hammer of the Vesper here. Your other options, for what it's worth, by the way, if like you just happen to get lucky, like the better options than this would be Scrollblade. This is your non-Dao Rens pre-raid BIS main hand. Or, I mean, obviously, Dao Rens, right? Like, these, I think, are the only two realistically better options that you have if you're Alliance here. Scrollblade, I don't want to assume I'm going to get that. Dao Rens, I'm not going to assume I'm going to get that either. And the rest are just worse, right? Massive McGowan, I guess, is also better. But once again, it's BOE, so I don't want to assume we're going to be able to get it. If I can buy one of these for a reasonable price, then sure, I'll use this instead. Do I prefer a faster offhand? I personally don't have a preference between fast and slow. I use whatever is actually going to do the most damage, which speed doesn't really make a difference in vanilla in that regard. So, there you go. Is Ironfoe not in the game? It is. I mean, yeah, sure, but you have to be very cognizant of this word right here. Yeah, sure, just get Ironfoe. So easy. Just drops and you just get it, streamer. Oh. And then as far as the backup option is concerned, and we already kind of talked about, like, mirrors is guaranteed, so we'll just get that. Backup is like, I mean, you either get like if we farm Skullmance, like one of the maces is guaranteed, right? I'm not particularly worried about that. If you're really in a really rough spot though, and for some reason they don't drop and you just can't get a weapon to save your goddamn life, fine. You use Thrashblade and you cry when you have to enchant your Thrashblade with Crusader. Christ. So that, I think, right there is a pretty reasonable set as far as your weapon options are concerned for a pre-MC warrior here. And I'll do Horde weapons since you guys were asking. Horde, obviously, assuming you're Orc, and you better be, axes is what you want to go for. So for offhand axes, you have a couple of options, and I have 3 options really. Number 1, you've got, in my opinion, probably the most realistic one, which is Bone Slicing Hatchet. This drops in Strat UD off Maleki the Pallid. And this is a solid starter axe. It's fine, 13 agi, decent base DPS. Other options include Seraphil. That's just a BOE, so no, your results may vary on that. But if you can get Seraphil, also solid, 9 strength, decent base DPS. And then there's also, and Jesus Christ, I hesitate to even say this, but if you somehow get your hands on one, yes, Flurry Axe is solid as well as an offhand option. Don't bank on this pre-MC, I'll say that. Also, don't break the fucking bank even after MC is out. But if you happen to just like, oh shit, one just randomly dropped in the dungeon, then like, sure, this is an option, sure. I would say realistically though, Bone Slicing Hatchet is probably what you're gonna expect. Main hand is a little trickier, to be honest, because main hand, there really isn't a easily acquirable slow axe that you can have in your main hand that drops off a dungeon boss. The most obvious option is Axe of the Deep Woods, but this is a BOE. So if you happen to get this, then cool. This is by far your best option. But BOEs, like, right, like, you know, I can't make any guarantees, right? So if you, okay, you guys are spamming Ribbon Spike. I said easily acquirable. Streamer, what about that slow axe that drops off of an LBRS off the rare spawn that nobody ever fucking fishes for? Yes, Ribbon Spike is definitely probably your best option outside of Deep Woods, but good fucking luck. Like, it's a rare spawn, like I said. So, and it's not like, and I think the rare spawn has like a 1 in 4 chance to drop it. So you have to get the rare spawn, and no group is gonna fish for that shit. So you just you have to get an ID where it happens to be have the rare spawn and it has to drop, right? So I personally wouldn't bank on it. If you happen to get it, cool, awesome, but don't assume you will, is what I would say. So, okay, this leaves like, okay, well, what do you have as an option for Horde in phase 1 if you want a slow main hand axe? The answer is there's not many. Let's just narrow it down here, shall we? Type one-handed axe. So whatever. No PvP weapons. And source. Quest and dungeons, okay. It's a little scary. Grizzle Skinner drops out of Arena. It's a 2.4 speed axe. It drops off one of the Arena mini bosses, so even this is not super reliable to get. Base DPS, pretty underwhelming. Tooth of Aranicus drops off Aranicus, obviously in Sunken Temple. Not horrible itemization, but unfortunately, A, still a little faster than you'd prefer, and B, it's off Aranicus, so good fucking luck. And then Soul Render's not going to be in the game yet, so... Oh, wow, ooh, okay, someone just linked this axe. That's really interesting, actually. Ribbon Spike, I didn't think about that. Wow, that was a great option, man. Yeah, just get this, actually. I can't think of a reason why it'd be a difficult option, so yeah, actually, just do that. Okay, cool. Thank you for that input. That's actually extremely insightful. Wow. So yeah, I would say another option for what it's worth. It's not a good one, but it is an option. You get Iceblade Hacker off of Frost Whisper. This one you'll actually probably see drop at the very least. So it's not great. 2.0 speed, right? No stats on it. Just some slightly extra frost damage. But like, it is at least an option. So this is what I went into my first MC with, for what it's worth, in OG Classic. This is my first MC, well, my first non-level 56 MC. So yeah, not a great option, but it is an option. Don't put Crusader on this. I'd say that. Looks okay, yeah, sure. BIS for Viscidus on private servers. What about 15 Arcanite bar crafted BOE? True, dude. Yeah, okay. Seems pretty reasonable for 1 week before MC. Yeah. So, anyways, those are your Horde options. Horde is a little more annoying than Alliance, TBH, but it's just for week 1. So if you're not going for World First MC, like, who cares? Whatever. You'll get a Deep Woods or something eventually. Or Deathbringer and Flurry Axe BIS. In phase 1, it's just double Deathbringer. If you only have one Deathbringer, what's the BIS offhand? Seraphil, Flurry Axe, and Bone Slicing Hatchet are all about equal. Don't get Flurry Axe, man. Don't ever buy Flurry Axe. It is a Omega bait. Do not do that. Do not come. Do not come. Okay. Anyways, what did I say? Hammer of the Vesper. Oh, shit. Oh, right. All these dumb filters. No, fuck me, dude. Because technically qualified as a world drop. How do I just clear all this shit? Okay, it's just okay. Please? No? Can I do it? Thank you. Okay. Alright, cool. So yeah. There you go. Now, like I said, don't take this is alright, let me be very giant disclaimer again, so that way people aren't confused. This is not a phase 1 pre-BIS list. Alright, this is not the list of gear you should get by the time like you're level 16, you've done your full pre-BIS grind, okay? This is the specifically list for me as a person who's going to try to level to 60 ASAP, well, not ASAP, but level to 60 in about 2 weeks, and then try to participate in our world first MC attempt, which will be 3 weeks after the game comes out, right? So this is my what can I get in the first 3 weeks of the game before MC is out set. This I think is, oh wait, shit, I forgot to put mirrors here, all right. This is, I think, the best realistic set you can get. Will I end up getting all of this? I think it's possible, but will I actually? This one, yes. This one, yes. This one, this one. One of these are cadavers, sure. This one, yeah. This one, either this or the other Skull of Mace, yeah. This one, yes. This one, or Reaver Claws, or Bloodmail, one of those, yes. Omok's Curse of the Strainer, yes. Valor, probably, and if not, then I guess just the quest ones that we had on the backup list, right? Bloodmail Boots, probably, and if not, then we'll get Wind Reaver off of Kurtonos. So one of those should be pretty much yes. Blackstone, yeah, should get that. Magnized Will, we will, because it's a quest item. Black End's Breath, we will, guaranteed. Podge, this, I hope so, man. If we don't, then it could be time to boot up Minecraft at that point. Pain Weaver, bro. Thank you for the suggestion, appreciate that. And then Rip Hook or Black Crow, hopefully yes as well. And then, yeah, weapons. What's up, X Grim X coming in hot with the Prime sub now for 17 months. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. The sub will go directly to the Hot Pockets, Doritos, and Fresh Fund. Appreciate you, dude. Yeah, by the way, if you have any gear, anything less than this, you're not allowed to zone into MC. That is how it works, right? 100% go for Iron Foe. Yeah, of course. I'll just spend the entire week just doing Emp runs, like nothing but lava jump runs, and just go for only Iron Foe. Fuck the rest of the set. It'd be so cool walking in MC week 1 with my Iron Foe. Alright, do I have my leveling group with my guild or doing my own thing? Yeah, I'm doing a group thing with guildies. Gonna be with Znips. I'm gonna be playing warrior. Znips will be playing warrior. Cool, of course. We'll be on a warrior. Renatic will be playing paladin, and Rage Soul will be playing priest. There you go. So, is it like the quote-quote optimal group to dungeon grind to 60? I don't know. You could argue that you should just run 4 warriors plus a healer. Or, I mean, if you really actually want to min-max it, you run 3 mages and you do an AoE, mage AoE thing. But as far as, like, if I'm playing warrior, like, I'm not sure what's better between double healer, 3 warrior, or 4 warrior, 1 healer. Obviously, in a 4 warrior, 1 healer comp, the main thing that's going to slow you down is the healer having to drink. Whereas if you're playing double healer, in theory, what you can do at that point is like have the healers alternate between drinking, so that way like 1 healer's drinking, 1 is healing, and then switch back when it's time, and like ideally then you're just chain pulling the entire time. So I don't know. We'll do it, and we'll see what feels like is the best when we do it. But either way, it doesn't really matter. We're not trying to speedrun our way to 60. We're not trying to get level 60 within 5 days, right? Like we're just gonna go at a pace that hopefully gets us to 60 in about 2 weeks, which is still really fast, but not like feel like you want to kill yourself after 5 days sort of fast. I would know. I did that on OG Classic release. We get a link of these gear options. How about this? I will put the... I can do these links in the fresh sheet. How about that? So exclamation point fresh. Let me put that in here real quick. So I guess it would be use final week to farm Prebis. It's realistic. Free MC gear. We'll just put that and then I guess like backup gear. There you go. Why is that not making a hyperlink right there? Rudy. There we go. Okay, cool. So yeah, if you want to see these sheets, just do exclamation point fresh in the chat, and they're in that spreadsheet right there. Now, like I said earlier, these are built for me. These are built for my own purposes. Don't follow these like they're gospel, because they're not. It's not like real Prebis, right? These are not Prebis lists. If you want your own like warrior Prebis list, like in phase 1, like there's plenty of sources out there for that. So don't look at this list and be like, this is the exact gear I have to get. Streamer said so. Okay. Just my realistic, what I think I'll be able to acquire in the week before MC. What the fuck is the chest on the other one? Skull mitts, bro. Oh, as far as the aesthetic, it's my BDSM set, of course. Oh my. Streamer told me to farm Ribbon Spike, so I've been spamming LBRS for 4 weeks and it still hasn't dropped. What do I do? Best two-handed weapon for the PvP grind, assuming no MC loot. It's not a great one, but it's like kind of your only one. The answer is Demon Shear out of Strat Live. Oh, did I spell that wrong? Demon... Oh. So this. Not great, but this is realistically the best you can do. Drops off of final boss of Strat Live. But hopefully it's not that hard to get a two-hander out of MC. Like, there's a lot of two-handers that drop in MC. There's Earthshaker, there's OEB, there's, I mean, BRE and Skull, whatever, something Reaper, the Axe off Ragnaros, that one, whatever. Spinal Reaper. Hell, there's Finkel's Lava Dredger, or whatever the fuck they call it now. And there's even Vendor Strike. Vendor Strike actually not even a terrible option as a starter PvP weapon. So I think by the time, assuming you do MC all of Phase 1, it's pretty much a guarantee that you'll have some sort of MC two-hander by Phase 2. If you actually, if you want one and try to get one. When is PvP releasing? In Phase 2. Ice Barb Spear is not bad before that. Ice Barb Spear is an Omega bait. Do not ever take Ice Barb Spear as a warrior. I know on its own it's solid, and I know traditionally the dads have used this as their, oh cool, my starter PvP weapon, but something a lot of people fail to realize is that if you get Ice Barb Spear, it means you're not getting Bloodseeker. Bloodseeker as Alliance is your pre-BIS bow after AV is out, under the assumption that you don't need hit from your range slot. And even as Horde, it's slightly better than everything else as well. Pick Bloodseeker. Ice Barb Spear, like, at best you'll use for like a week and then replace. Bloodseeker you could potentially use until, hell, even till AQ, to be honest. Especially as a human, since it scales with kings, so. No. As a warrior, never, ever, ever, ever pick Ice Barb Spear. That is bait. Pick this. We need 6 hit as a human. Under the assumption you're using swords or maces, then yes, 6 hit is what'll get you capped. Without 305 weapon skill, then you need 9%. They've not confirmed one way or another whether BGs are out at the start of Phase 2 or not. I pray to God that they are. Please, God. Is Iron Foe decent for human? Sure, it's your pre-BIS by far, but keep in mind, on the Phase 1 loot table, the drop chances of basically every dungeon epic is absurdly low. I think like Iron Foe is like 0.1% off of Emperor, so if you get it, sure, it's great, but don't count on getting it. Don't try to go out of your way to farm it, because it's not realistic to acquire. I think they did say BGs are Phase 2. Well, yes, we know that, but we don't know when in Phase 2. Back in OG Classic, BGs came out in Phase 2, yes, but it was a month after Phase 2 came out, which meant that you had 4 weeks of absolute misery of PvP in the open world. Alrighty, well, there you go. That's kind of like my pre-plan. What are we going to do gear-wise, hopefully before MC? I think I can acquire most of this set before MC. And I also, in reality, think that Devil Sorrow will probably be doable as well. It's just that I didn't want to plan for it just in case. So, yeah, that'll be the thing. The good news is I think a lot of this we'll get even before we're 60, so that'll help as well, make it a lot more comfy. We're torn between Rogue and Warrior for PvP more, but also PvE. Thoughts? Rogue is arguably the best PvP class in the game, so if you want to prioritize PvP, Rogue is probably the option that you want to pick. Warriors are, well, okay. Warriors can be good in PvP, but the problem is that, like, if you're a solo warrior, you're going to be absolute fucking dog water. If you're just a solo warrior in the open world, you lose pretty much a 1v1 to every class, except maybe Warlock. And just people that are bad. Even Warlocks that are good will still beat you. However, if you have a pocket healer or you're in a BG and you got someone healing you as a warrior, you're just an unstoppable ball of death. So if you're more into solo PvP, Warrior is not a good option at all. Rogue is definitely a good option. And then PvE-wise, Warrior is just better. It's just straight up, it's just better. Rogue's not bad, but Warrior is better. So if you want to min-max PvE, Warrior is the play. For Orc Fury, what axes would it be? I kind of went over this already, but main hand, worst case scenario, Ice Blade Hacker, better case scenario, Axe of the Deep Woods, best case scenario, Ribbon Spike, but good fucking luck with that. And then offhand, just Bone Slicing Hatchet, most realistic option, or Seraphil off the auction house, or Flurry Axe, but don't buy Flurry Axe. With my plan, I say 2 weeks to level 60. Sure, I can do it faster, and it's more of that there's no need to rush 60 since no MC, you're assuming? Exactly, yeah. Also, I saw the question, why Ally and not Horde? That's just what my guild is going. All the sweaty speedrunners in vanilla usually pick Alliance, unfortunately. I prefer Horde, but I'm willing to play Alliance if it's what my guild wants to play. Begrudgingly. Is BRE viable for two-handed slam spec? No, it's not. Two-hander does not work. Two-handed Fury just doesn't work in vanilla, especially as Alliance. Like, you can run it. It's not going to do horrible damage. It'll do better damage than all the casters will. But it's never going to be able to compete with dual-wield Fury. It's not even close. Like, for example, like these previous weapons would do more damage than BRE two-handed Fury would do, especially as Alliance, because as Alliance, you don't have Wind Fury. And two-handed slam is only made minorly viable by Wind Fury on Horde side. Is FSB going into TBC as well? Too early to say. When is AV out? Phase 2. What does my PvP set look like? I'll worry about that later. It's just going to be a bunch of dungeon plate pieces, more than likely. Isn't it good at early MC if you get OEB on Horde with Wind Fury? It's okay, but it's still not better than just running previous axes. Stop trying to make two-handed Fury happen, boys. If you want to do it for funsies, go for it, but there's no realistic scenario in which two-handed Fury is a better option than dual-wield Fury. Dual-wield Fury is just better. There's no like, well, what if scenarios. I mean, if you have like, I don't know, Severance off of Patchwork versus your Priebus Orc weapons, then fine, yeah, do play two-handed Fury, but you get what I'm saying. The bad part, there's no BIS two-handed axe till late game. As a PvP, there's a non-PvPer, I don't really give a fuck anyways. Am I interested in playing TBC again, or really no interest at all? I talked about this earlier, but basically TLDRs. I don't really feel like playing the first half of TBC again, but I'd play the second half. But I'd probably just raid log it. I don't want to do the whole outside of raid TBC thing. Alrighty. I think we'll call it a stream right here, boys. That was a nice little fresh discussion sesh. In fact, our final one on stream before Fresh comes out. Because I am not streaming for the next 3 days. I'm going to take a little mini break before Classic Squared comes out, so that way I can kind of recharge the batteries a little, get my IRL shit sorted, so that way I can essentially just be a hermit for the next like 3 weeks at least, year. And so I can maybe catch up on sleep a little bit as well. Yeah, a little mini hibernation, right? So, okay, the plan for Thursday, right? That's when Fresh is coming out. I know for sure I'll just be streaming, like, starting on release, for sure. I don't know how long we're gonna grind after release, my group, that is. I'm willing to go as long as needed, because, like, for me, I can play whenever. But I don't know how long my group's gonna be willing to go, because my group is EU, of course, so for them, the game's coming out at, like, 11 p.m., approximately 11 p.m. for them. So I don't know how late into the night they're gonna be willing to go. I still need to discuss with my group on that, but regardless of how long we go, I'll certainly be playing on release regardless. No gym for a month? No. There's a reason why we're going like with the more reasonable schedule on release. I'm not doing the 20-hour nightmare grind, 20-hour per day nightmare grind like I did on OG Classic. That is not an option. I will never do that again. I'm doing a, quote, reasonable 12 hours a day, which I know sounds laughable to you guys, but keep in mind, I do this full time, right? So it's not like I have to do that on top of my job otherwise, right? So 12 hours a day still leaves me another 12 hours for the rest of the day to sleep and to eat and to go to the gym. So I should be able to keep a relatively healthy lifestyle on release here, and that's by design. Why Hammer over Thrashblade? Because Hammer's just better. Thrashblade's fine, but it's not amazing. Thrashblade's our backup option for what it's worth. What's the plan this week? This coming week up until Thursday, by the way, it is to not stream. Remember Manitomb's TPC release? Yeah, we're trying to avoid doing that. Yeah. It's still gonna suck though. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like, oh yeah, easy, 12 hours a day. It'll be so fun. Like, no. On our 9th hour of SM, I'm sure I'm still gonna want to blow my fucking brains out, but at least I'll be able to sleep, and at least I'll be able to take breaks and eat, and I don't know, hate my life a little less, I guess. Alrighty. Anyways, that's all for now. So you guys can do !Discord in the chat if you feel like joining my Discord. It's a place where I post stream news, stream announcements. Anytime I go live, I'll make sure to ping you guys. It's a place where you can ask me, streamer, why'd you get a new chair? And the answer is basically just a confused chat, similar to why I swap my weapons on SAF polarity. Same sort of thing. But yeah, in real talk though, Discord has been popping lately. Everybody talking about Fresh, so if you feel like discussing Fresh, my Discord's a place to do it. But otherwise, appreciate you guys hanging out. Appreciate you guys keeping chat lively as always. And if you're NA, have a good rest of the evening. If you're EU, have a good rest of the night. If you're OC, have a good rest of the morning. And I guess I'll see you guys for Fresh. The Thursday stream, I'll start like probably 30 minutes before release, right? So for now, bank on 4:30 p.m. Eastern time on Thursday, 22:30 CET. I will see you guys then for Fresh.